Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ouch Potato podcast. I am your host, Ben, and joined with me... Fucked it, Josh. I'm going to start again.
That was good. That was a good first go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ouch Potato podcast. I am your host, Ben, and joining we... Fuck my life. Hello, everybody... Josh, shut the fuck up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ouch Potato podcast, episode 1. I'm your host, Ben, and joining me, as you will notice will be always, is the man with a sense of humour drier than the Sahara Desert.
Did you write that down?
No, I'm just freestyling. The
you came up with that?
I've got one more. You got to hear it.
Okay. Sorry.
The bluntness of a butter knife. So
of a butter knife. Okay.
You're pretty blunt. It's Josh.
You know, it's funny you say that. I actually cut my finger on a egg box this morning.
Well, there you go.
I know it's not butter, but okay.
For anyone who doesn't know Josh, I suppose that's kind of the point of this first episode is to introduce ourselves, explain who we are, what we're all about. Josh is a, I don't know, what would you say,
child prodigy?
I was going to say semi-popular YouTuber. I mean,
right. Okay.
You're doing all right. You're on a slow rise.
We went for two different sides of that, but okay.
I mean, child prodigy, it's a stretch, I'd say, but
I say the same thing.
Fair. Okay.
And should I introduce you?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah, sure.
And Ben is my editor.
I thought the technical term was slave.
Yeah. No, technical, it's a slave, but no. No, Ben is a small business owner. He is an up-and-coming entrepreneur,
nice,
but does a lot of work for more successful people.
Extremely more successful people.
Yeah. And we decided that we'd be fun. By the way, what's the podcast called again?
Ouch Potato.
Yeah, what's going on there? The Ouch Potato or Ouch Potato?
It's just Ouch Potato, but when I introduce it, it feels better saying the Ouch Potato. So we're going to go with that.
Okay, so it's Ouch Potato.
Yeah, it's Ouch Potato. It's not even Ouch Potato podcast. It's just Ouch Potato.
But Ben, maybe this is something you should be saying. But what does Ouch Potato mean?
Well, that is a good question, Josh. The reason behind it, I think you'd be better off explaining. The way I know, whenever someone says to me, "Well, where did you get the name Ouch Potato?" I said, Josh, what should we call the podcast? He went on Urban Dictionary, saw word of the day, and picked it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so there's not really a hell of a lot behind it, but I think that's the point, because at the end of the day, the key thing about this podcast is it seems like there's more to it, but at the end of the day, there's nothing really to it.
Definitely. Stop reading.
And I think it's a good summary of the podcast. Speaking of the podcast, what is the podcast?
Well, that's something we're going to develop as we go, I think. I mean, the general idea is, we'll be talking about current stuff and, picking topics each week and, of course, answering questions from the listeners if we have any.
Make sure to follow us.
Yes.
To ask questions, I guess.
Yes. Definitely links are down in the description. You can subscribe to the channel and, of course, follow us on Twitter for all the Q&A requests and everything. But just drop comments down below if you want us to answer your questions on the next episode.
And yeah, it basically is a more of like a hodgepodge of like everything. You get all sorts here. We'll have guests. We have some controversial topics. We'll have some current drama news. And I don't know, just all of the everythings. The stuff that you don't get to see. I mean, I guess it's like a bit more of an insight.
Yeah, I think part of it, I mean, obviously it's not going to revolve around it, but we wanted to kind of let people know more about the inner workings of YouTube, because a lot of the people listening are probably only seeing videos like, if they come from your channel, they're just used to watching your gaming videos. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'd say
it was more like in the online world, as a whole. Because it's more than just YouTube. There's a lot of people look at YouTubers and are like, they just look like everything looks so pretty. On YouTube, you edit them, you edit the videos.
I make them look
pretty. You are a filter. You're a literal filter. You make it the crap that YouTubers, me make, and then you make it into like something. And that's the thing, is like this podcast is kind of going to be not that. It's going to be more of like a dirty insight into the world. Maybe.
I mean, it's true. They say you can't polish a turd, but they are very, very wrong.
Wrong, yeah, indeed. There's a lot of turds in YouTube, but and in social media as a whole. But I already feel like we're on a tangent.
But I think that's fine. Like, I think we're going to have a loose structure to the. Basically, all you need to know, there's going to be a loose structure talking about topics, but we are going to be going off on tangents. I was at yours the other day, asked you a simple question in the garden. We ended up talking for 2 hours. It happens. So. I guess we're just going to kind of see where each episode
and we didn't
takes
capitalize on that,
Absolute fools.
Yeah, and also, so what? I mean, what is the structure? Do you want to say quick?
This week or in general?
Just in general, so that, if anyone's tuning in, they'll know what to expect.
Sure. Well, in general, I mean, we're gonna start off doing the rather immaculate job of an intro, like we just have done. Then we're gonna talk about
hopefully we'll have some sponsors at some point, and they'll go in there.
Yeah. If anyone
wants to sponsor us, let us know.
Yeah, links in the description. God, yeah.
Money.
Give us all your money, and we'll say kind things about you.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah. So we're going to be doing the immaculate intro, like I said. Then we're going to get on to, I don't know, just kind of like topics there. Not topics, so to speak, but drama. So I think drama's a bad term to use because it's not just going to be drama. It's just going to be
current topics, Ben. It's current topics.
I mean, call it what you want. Dress it up.
Whatever's just going on, to keep it current. And then we'll go on to a more interesting topic, possibly.
Yeah, I think we're going to pick definitely one topic per week, but potentially multiples. Why not?
I mean, yeah, we need a title,
That is true. Yeah. So what are we going to title this one? Because this one's more about.
I don't know. Yeah, we need clickbait, so I'm not really sure.
Well, I'm sure. Just keep an ear out during this episode, and we'll work something out, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also we might have guests every other podcast or every now and then. We'll get possibly some interesting names in here. Who knows? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Could we get Killer Keemstar in?
Possibly not. No, it's not really our style.
I can't ask him because he blocked me on Twitter. So
that's just too bad.
I feel like part of the cool club being blocked by Keemstar on Twitter though, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's the end of the world, to be honest. But,
I didn't lose any sleep over it, Josh. It's fine.
No, moving swiftly on.
Yes, right. So why don't we talk about just what we do in general? Because obviously, like we've touched on it. Josh is a YouTuber.
Oh my God, are we getting into stage 2 of the podcast?
I think we've accomplished stage 1. So I mean, kudos on that one.
All right. So
let's move on.
All right. Okay. So now that we've introduced each other, I guess you want to give a better attempt at describing what you do and who you are.
Okay.
And what you can bring to people's lives. Why are you of benefit to people?
I mean,
why are you valuable?
How long's
Ben?
the podcast going to be, Josh? I mean, so basically,
you've made a good impression just by saying that.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'll try and nutshell it for you guys. So for Josh, I edit his videos. Not all of them. About half of them, maybe less than half. Some of them. I do his thumbnails for his channel.
He edits the bad ones.
I edit the bad ones, yeah. That's bad content, not bad editing, I should point out. Do the immaculate thumbnails, and I'm pretty much an all-round good guy to him, really. Just keep him motivated and keep him happy. I think is that all I do for you? It's pretty much what I do for you.
Sure. I mean, you don't. Yeah, I guess I have someone else who does more of the complicated stuff and pretty much bosses you around.
That's my girlfriend. Yeah, she manages Josh's day-to-day stuff, edits the videos as well, and is about as moody as Josh, really. So it's a great time.
I'm not moody. I'm just direct.
You're very direct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good word.
I think my favorite part of my day is when I text you a thumbnail that I've spent a few hours working on, and I get the reply. No. I mean, that's it's always good. It's so constructive,
Well, at the end of the day, I don't want to butter your bun. I just want to let you know that it's ruined, and it needs throwing away.
I think you need to realize though that buns need buttering every now and again. Not all the time, granted.
What is the point of buttering a bun if it's going in the bin?
Well, that makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I mean, more to the point, what do you do, Josh? Everyone wants to know. I mean, clearly, we've just explained what myself and Amber do. So basically, that means you don't really do a lot. Is that?
So I'm basically the driving force of my channel. I am the only reason it's here, and the only reason why Ben has a job. So realistically speaking, you might say that I don't do as much as they do, but without me, it wouldn't exist. Without them, we'd be fine. So that's the real conundrum there.
I mean, he's not lying. Let's be honest. But
yeah. So I'm a YouTuber. I make primarily gaming content. Although, just like every other gaming YouTuber, I'd like to do something different.
You are on the podcast. You're doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There we go. I do some like stuff on the side. I have like a few like little business venture things. Nothing crazy. Just like I like to do stuff, hobbies. I don't really have any hobbies or really for that fact friends. Well, then again, that's why I'm a YouTuber, because then I can feel like I have friends. I have a wonderful girlfriend called Alyssa. And
hi Alyssa, if you're listening, by the way.
She's not. She's at work, but
rude.
yeah, I live like about probably half my time with her in America and the other half in England. Now, that's already a juicy insight because, no, I'm still talking about me, so just quiet down.
Rude.
That's a bit of an insight because people don't even know that. Like, that's the crazy thing.
That isn't exclusive. That's the clickbait.
Yeah, that's it.
We've got the exclusive.
Maybe the insight. But Ben, I could say some more. I mean, hobbies-wise, we can talk about more of that probably in the future. I don't know, but
I'm intrigued.
That's kind of a summary of me and what I do. And they'll know some more eventually.
Yeah.
But like, but what do you do aside from work?
I'll be learning as they learn. That's the interesting thing because you're a bit of a closed book, Josh. So.
Yeah, I know. But what do you do except from editing then? Like, what's your situation?
I don't. I think
people need to know who they're listening to.
Okay, well.
And I feel like I'm a bit easier to understand.
You are pretty
on
easy.
The front face, but not.
Right. So I mean, basically nowadays I do nothing but work, and I'm not complaining. I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to do it. But this job really does take over because I work for Josh. And I also work for Geordie as well. So it's literally like
that is Quebble
That is Quebble Cop. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't know why I assume the people watching are like not going to know us.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah, so I work for Quebble Cop as well. I edit his stream highlights, and so it's literally like all the time work, which is fine. I get very, very rare bits of time off, and when I do that, I don't know. I like photography. I like traveling. Traveling's a big one I like, which unfortunately you don't really get to do a lot of with this job.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's a weird world because I feel like you know what I think is I think that nobody gets such an opportunity to travel, but when like, think about it. I mean, most people get like 2 weeks off on a job or 2-3 weeks off.
Very true.
And I think that nobody gets a chance to travel.
That's sad.
But it's more prevalent as a YouTuber because you get that taste, or not a YouTuber, but like in the YouTube world, because you get that taste of freedom, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could take today off and my boss isn't going to have a go at me. Like, you know, sure, you work with people, but like, you know, they're relatively similar. You could take a day off, right? And that gives you that taste. And I think that's the worst thing.
I think you're right, but I think one thing I found, because obviously I know Jelly as well, with all YouTubers that I've hung around with, I've realized, because obviously like, we're not like myself and Amber, we're not the content creators, but we still work very much as hard as you guys. And I think, and obviously you guys did our job before we even came on board, but I think to be successful in YouTube, I think you have to accept that and you have to just relentlessly work and realize, you know, yes, I might make YouTube money, which is great, and you might think I want to go jet across the world all the time, but I can't do that. If I want my channel to carry on succeeding and growing, that's the way it is, and that goes for your editors and everything as well. You know, if we don't work, you know, your videos don't get done, you lose money, we lose money. It's just a grind, isn't it? But it's a good grind.
It's interesting as well, because it never ends. It's like it's very weird working a job that like there's no end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
you're not like I'm not going to get promoted to a bigger YouTube. Like nobody's going to decide that I've worked hard enough and promote me to a bigger YouTuber. Like you work and then you get lucky, or you know what I mean. Like and then you grow. You don't get promoted. You just go up. And I think it's a weird world where you're just in control of your own progression. You know, it's I think that's the odd thing as well.
Yeah, I think we're also starting to find that. Because I mean, not to go too personal or anything, but you know, like when you come back from being with your girlfriend, you come back, your girlfriend's still in America, and you're here. And we came and saw you recently, and it was a great time because we don't get to really see people because we're constantly working. So even though when we came to see you, we were working and you were working, it was just nice to have a bit of company. And I think that's kind of the case. Like anyone who follows you will know that, you know, we all recently hung out in Marbella as well with Jelly. And again, that looks like a holiday. It's not a holiday.
Oh no, that's the other thing that people don't. People don't understand is like they look at us traveling to places and it's like, Jesus, I went to LA recently and like if I stepped out of my hotel, I was going to somewhere to like work. I mean, like I went with Ubisoft. They paid me to go out there and paid me to make videos and stuff, and they paid for my trip and stuff. And it's like you like I did that. All I did was work for them, and then when I had time, like I would go to see Geordie, and no offense to Geordie, but Jesus Christ, is he a pain to talk to sometimes? and like that's just more like work a lot of the time, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like there's no defined line.
But I just feel like people don't get that. I think people, like, especially viewers who have their own channels, who are desperate to make it, they think it's just like, because I used to be in bands back in the day, and there's this massive misconception that if you were in a band that was doing even semi alright, it was incredible. Like backstage at a show was amazing, and this is like sex, drugs, and rock. And it's just not. Okay, like backstage at a show is the most boring thing in the world.
Yeah,
and it's the same as this. Everyone sees, like
it's always the grass is always greener.
Yeah. And I just don't think they realize how much work goes into, like I say before, it blows my mind to think how much this job takes over my life, to consider you did that on top of recording the content as well. It just it blows my mind. People just don't get it, man, the amount of work that needs to go into it. But
then again, I'm not complaining, because like at the end of the day, we make a shit ton of money. Like it's like we do get to travel. Yeah. And it's hard, because I think everyone can complain about what they do. I mean, 100%. It's like, and I think that's the key thing, is like, okay, we can complain, but I don't think a lot of people do, and realistically, not a lot of YouTubers do, and they just get on with it. And the people that do complain end up falling to the sides.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't want to do it, you're not gonna do it. End of the day, it's
the positives make up for it.
Exactly.
But anyway, tell me more, Ben. What did you do in a band? What was that about?
Well, that was like since age maybe like 10, 11, it was the dream. It was like, nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to be a famous rock star. It's going to be amazing. And, it's kind of like YouTube is. It's a lot harder than you think. And I don't know, it started going well. I literally was in bands for years, and I got to a band which started doing quite well. Like, not massive or anything, but, we got some, like, I got on TV a couple of times and stuff, and it went all right. But then it's one of those things where the music industry itself is a huge boys club, and it's literally all about who you know. And
but then again, like, the whole world is, Ben.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the problem is,
arguably, someone might say the world's a boys club.
It's true. But the problem is, as a band, it's not really up to who you know; it's who your manager knows. So if you haven't got a very good manager, you're not going to get anywhere. And our
but then again, it's quite similar.
Well, yeah, true, but our manager stiffed us out of 11 grand. So that kind of bitted it up a whole bit, and eventually we just lost interest and just packed it in.
It's interesting, actually, because I get the impression that the music industry is a far more developed version of YouTube, and that one day YouTube or the social media or online world may become similar. Am I talking too fast?
No.
I feel like I need to slow down.
No, that's good. I think you're getting excited. It's good.
The online media world will become similar. Like, nowadays, I'm starting to see the signs of like other companies like cutting up a large portion of YouTubers' like money. Because if you guys didn't know, like a lot of successful YouTubers will bring on like management teams, and not management teams always, but like management and agents, and basically people taking a slice. Like when you see a YouTuber do a business deal, they often will not, like, if they get paid I don't know, $1,000, okay, for a business deal. And I don't know what that could be. It could be any size YouTuber, whatever. Now, for that money to get to them, usually it's been past like 3 or 4 people. And that's like now. So that's like been through like an agency, maybe a management team, like publishers. And then like that $1,000 will maybe reach the YouTuber at like $100. And, it's weird because like, right now it's such shady territory for it, but like it's going to get to the point with like music industries where like bigger YouTube, and it's happening already, but like bigger companies will take on YouTubers and stuff like that and like give them like 10% of their income. It's crazy, and I think that's something that's happened a lot in the music industries. I mean, like even stuff like X Factors like that, don't they get signed up with like the worst deals?
Would not surprise me.
Yeah, like they get signed up where they get like 25% of their profits.
I mean, that's the thing. You just get, because they know those artists are desperate to make it, and they know this is
exactly. They don't get a choice. No. That's the big thing, and that's where YouTube's going, which is crazy. It's always interesting to be at the front of that though, and seeing it develop. But
it's a weird question. Actually, I obviously don't want to go into financials with you or anything, but for anyone, because I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering with the whole Wall Street Journal pulling ads off YouTube and stuff, Coca-Cola pulling their ads and everything like that. I can't remember the hashtag that was given to it, but like I said, I don't want to go into financials with you, but
we can go kind of into it.
Did you feel that? Like, is that still a thing? Has it pulled itself back up now?
I mean, obviously this is like older relevance.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, that is a perfect example of how like shaky, everything is. And it was interesting because it's like probably exactly what I'd see happen in other industries where it didn't really affect the top man, the top guy, like the big, the top 5% of YouTubers probably just like wiped it off, like really. And anyone below that really got hit the hardest. And I think that's the key thing. It's like a lot of anyone you see that's got a few million subscribers and isn't completely dead, like an old school YouTuber probably, they probably just were fine.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's like they went from earning a lot of money to just under a lot of money.
It's a hard
Does
life.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's interesting. But anyway, so that's us.
yeah. I hope you guys are still listening. You didn't get too bored hearing our life stories, but
yeah. I mean, I can't think of anything else to say that's relevant to show. I mean, people understand what type of people they are throughout the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was more of a. It's probably not going to be a full length one. This one, it's more of just a. Hey, this is who we are. Sign up. Next week we'll be back with another one. Do you know what I mean? I did want to get on some questions. Like I said, like I said in the intro, as we go at the end of the podcast, I'm not saying this is definitely the end, but it's content. Near the end of the podcast, we're going to jump into some questions you guys have left below. Obviously, we don't have any this week because this is our first ever podcast. But Josh has a nice habit of posting Instagram pictures asking for Q&As for videos that he never actually records. So,
oh god, I'm getting exposed.
Yeah. So there you go, clickbait, Slogan Man exposed. I gathered some questions, and I suppose actually one of the first questions though is not actually from Instagram. It was from one of the YouTube.
Just so you guys know though that this isn't like one of the interesting things about this is I'm trying to keep it a bit separate to my channel. So like you guys can hit us up on our social medias. Obviously, they'll be, I don't know if they're on the screen, but probably in the description or whatever, however this podcast works. And yeah, so I forgot to say. Where was I going with this?
I think what you were trying to get across is if you're dropping questions for us for next week.
Oh yeah, don't
make it Slogan Man fan questions.
No, yeah. Just make it, Ben and Josh, Ouch Potato questions.
Yeah, anything you want to know.
You can ask us about what we get involved in, but use this opportunity to be asking us questions that are a bit more like interesting rather than like
generic game channel questions. Yeah,
because at the end of the day, like obviously like my channel is me, but it's not. It's like a lot of YouTubers. It's more of a exaggerated version of myself that is very hard to sometimes very hard to understand. Just like with most YouTubers, like if anything, I'd say me, Jelly, and Geordie, me, Quebblecop, and Jelly, that is, we're more on the real side of YouTube. Mm-hmm. So like how we talk to each other is quite similar to how we talk to each other, but obviously there's always a line, and I'm hoping that this podcast will be a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
And you guys can talk to the Josh rather than the Slogan Man. But the Slogan Man's just as cool, If you want to talk to the Slogan Man, then head over to the channel.
I mean, but you say cool. We'll use that.
No, he's pretty dope. Wow. So, but yeah. So this is an opportunity to ask us some actually interesting stuff. But this is the first episode.
Yeah.
So we have to drag him off of my Q&A, which I didn't even know. But
well, there you go. I like to surprise you, Josh. So, but this first one, like I said, this is from actually one of your YouTube videos, and it's not an actual question specifically. It's just I notice on almost every video you do, you get a lot of people saying.
Are you gonna tell us who actually asked the question?
No. That'll come for our actual viewers. So next week.
Oh, these are the people that have just luckily got in.
Exactly.
Scummed their way in.
Yeah. Next week you'll get names for them. But yeah, the scummy questions, right? So basically, I always see people say they're small, really small time, like 20 subs, saying, "Oh, guys, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow. Please check me out, subscribe." So having 3.5 million subscribers, I'd say you're moderately successful.
Well, thank you, Ben. That's very
all
nice.
Right. Mediocre maybe. But tell me, are comments like this actually an easy way to hit the big time?
Comments like what?
Please subscribe to my channel.
Oh, did you say that?
Yeah. Were you listening to me,
I didn't even hear
Josh?
you say that.
Amazing. Yeah, the whole point of this question is loads of tiny little YouTubers dropping comments going, "Guys, I have a channel. Please help me out."
Like, to be completely honest, YouTubers do not care. Like, they'll care about the people. Like, the thing is with a comment, right, is that you got to think about the context of a comment. So usually you'll get a channel that has asked now usually in the sea, right? In the sea of other channels that are asking questions. And what was your example question?
Well, just
like specific one.
Yeah, just
please subscribe.
Yeah, just I've got a channel, guys. I'm really trying to make it. Please help.
So you got to think about the fact that like that basically that channel is not a face, and it's not usually a name. It's a username, right?
Yeah.
So it's some random ass picture, which is usually, I don't know, Darth Vader's helmet or something. like you know what I mean?
Good example.
And then his username is like Vader 6934 1965. I don't know. But and they're asking like, oh, can you collab, or can you subscribe to me? And you got to like think like, where's the individuality that like there's nothing attracting a YouTuber to it.
Yeah.
The only time you see a YouTuber helping someone out is like when they get their own publicity from it.
It's
like,
it's sad but true. Yeah.
But YouTubers are like from what I know, like YouTubers are the most like selfish people in the world.
Equally, I suppose people like smaller YouTubers need to understand that this is big business for bigger YouTubers. It's not just a hobby.
Well, it's just you also can't pick people.
Yeah, that's true. You do a favor for one person, you can't do it for everyone.
And it's funny because like you go, oh, I can't do a favor for this person, so I won't do it for anyone.
Yeah.
And then they just sit with that, and that's just like the weird reality of it. And I'm not going to sit here and like say I'm any different. Like I'm guilty of like ignoring the smaller guys because it's like hard to not.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the way YouTube is nowadays as well, is it's like there's not a hell of a lot I can do for you.
That is true.
That's the other thing.
True.
Like me and Geordie and Jelly, Quabblecop and Jelly, we've played with smaller YouTubers before. And maybe out of like the 4 or 5 people we've been involved with, like one of them's done, like we've managed to like grow one of their channel.
Was that Garrett? I'm joking.
But no, Garrett's never grown.
Okay, there we go.
But and that's the thing is like it's a case of like the extent we'd have to go through, like we'd have to smother the person, like our channel with that person to get them to grow.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is usually they're not good enough. You know?
They don't cut the mustard.
But usually the channels aren't like good enough, and it's the same way that me, Quabblecop and Jelly, our channels weren't good enough in the day.
Yeah.
And it took like a long time of like editing our own videos, not making any money.
Yeah. I was going to say, people should probably realize it doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's a gradual thing.
I guarantee that 90%, and even that's lowballing it, 90% of the channels that say, can you subscribe to me, have less than like 5 actual videos.
Yeah. Well,
that are fully fleshed out and aren't like a 10-second clip of him going him or her or whatever in between going like subscribe. So basically you get that a lot, like people just doing selfie videos. Yeah.
So you're saying like, spend less time begging for subs and more time making content.
Yeah, because I have seen the YouTubers stick it out and make it.
There you go. Heard it here first, kids.
And that's the way to do it, you know.
Nice.
And I'm not telling you to stop doing anything, but you would have to be very lucky, and maybe that's enough for people. Is that the chance that someone might pick him up?
Yeah.
But it's just not something that I particularly do. Which is just how the cookie is crumbling.
Well, there you go. So if you watch Josh's videos and you're one of those people that comments that, stop doing it. There you go. It's not going to benefit you. It's wasting your own time.
Ask me something, because I've been actually answering comments recently. Just actually say something.
That's a good
Especially
point.
the way comments are like nowadays, where like 10 of the comments are like fake stuff now.
Yeah.
And that's like a real big issue. I don't know if that's a real issue when you guys are listening to it, but like, damn, the comments are a bad place. So usually it's like one of those things where it's like, just stay away from the comments right now, and talk on other social medias, you know? Well, because that's where a lot of YouTubers are.
I have got a pretty juicy question for you.
Oh God, here we go. What's next, Ben?
Do you like your own videos?
Do I like my own videos? You know, it's funny you say that, because I was wondering that literally this morning. Because basically on my channel, something I brought in very recently was an animation, basically the first one had been done at the point of us recording this, and the second one's being like mocked up. And like I watched the second one as well, and like if I was to watch, they're basically the animations are, I mean, how would you explain it? They're based on like sections of my video,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think
and they're like
awesome,
they're taken slightly out of context usually,
yeah,
but in a funny way. So the scenes are changed and stuff. And it's funny because I really enjoyed watching those animations.
Yeah.
But if I had watched the footage that those animations were based on, I feel like I haven't explained them properly. Like
that's interesting.
Yeah, so like a GTA
that.
video, someone taking the voice and audio out of that and then animated it in like a different scenario. So us like sitting around a fire, for example, or me and my sister going shopping, which was the second animation. Now that's I enjoyed it in a different context, and I actually laughed at myself. But if you put it back in the GTA video that it came
It's
from,
not as funny. Wow.
it's just not funny to me. Like I don't particularly enjoy it, and I don't know if it's really just comes down to like if I told a joke and then told it again to the next person, I'm not going to find it that funny.
I don't know. See, the thing for me is,
or if I listen back to myself,
I find the animations very, very not similar in style, but the idea of it very similar to a show called the Ricky Gervais podcast, which Ricky Gervais had his own podcast with Steve Merchant, Carl Pilkington, and then they made for TV. They kind of got an animator on board and just basically animated out the scenes that they were talking about. And before that show was even made, I adored the podcast. I thought it was great. And then they made that, and again, I was just like, it's fantastic. And I personally think it's not so much the fact it's been animated or anything. I think it's just because like you're just sitting there listening and enjoying rather than watching an intense game. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a massive fan of that's why I wanted to start a podcast. I love that sort of stuff. I find it very, very real and
so are we not interesting enough for a podcast?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, you know, whatever. I guess.
Are we not funny enough?
I guess we'll know after this. But I mean, like that animation that you've done. If people haven't watched it, you should go watch it. It's so funny, and you know, I edit these videos for a living. I don't remember that conversation happening, but I watched it on the animation. That's so funny. I was laughing. It was great. So I don't know. I think it's. I don't know how that reflects you. I don't want to talk bad mouth your content.
No, it's just interesting because it's just. I mean, it's like it's hard because like we needed that GTA like that tool to create it.
Yeah, I get you.
Because we wouldn't have come up with that conversation anyway.
Very true.
And it was like the rush of playing the game and the rush of like because you got a bit of adrenaline going through you and you're like intense and you're a bit agitated sometimes, and it's like that drives the conversations.
The best thing for me about that is because I know all you guys, I knew that the reactions in that were so real. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying other stuff in the videos is faked because it's not, but that is just such
exaggerated
a real
would be the better
yeah, it's just such a real genuine like laughter that you guys have, and it just like it totally is a different kind of comedy and it's brilliant. I loved it. So I get what you're saying, but there's plenty of times in the videos where I'm watching and I'll sit here editing and I'll just start laughing and Amber's like, what? And she'll do the same. She'll just be chuckling away at herself. So, I mean, it is there. I think it's probably just you examining
it's just
it
repackaged.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
and sometimes repackaging it is enough.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, well, that was good. That's a good question. Who knew? That was from your Instagram Q&A that we never shot.
Never filmed.
There you go. All right. Well, here's another one. I've actually wondered this as well. So, why are you a pescatarian? You should probably explain what a pescatarian is first.
Oh, so personal question.
Yeah.
So a pescatarian is basically for the simpletons out there, is a vegetarian.
The simpletons.
Someone who doesn't eat meat, but like they will eat fish. So, and I know that it sounds like very counterproductive. I don't know, like to not eat meat but then eat technically another meat, right?
Is it hypocritical, the word, rather than?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
that's probably a better word. But I don't know. So basically, it comes down from when I was a kid. I wasn't always, but my dad would used to basically be like a full-on vegetarian before he had furrows around, and so he basically at some point decided to only eat fish. I think that was more of like on the dietary side, and he cooked fish like only because he used to cook a lot.
Okay.
Or he still does, and he would just cook fish, and then it got to the point where he would only eat fish, and I think and he's not a big fan of like he's very animal, he loves his dogs, he loves animals,
Sure.
and I guess I can't speak for him, but maybe he didn't particularly. He chose to eat fish as he thought that was like, I don't know, a better alternative if he had
fish
to choose between.
Is that?
I don't think that, because I've got a funny story actually. So my mum and my dad actually went out for dinner once. They told me the story, and they went to a restaurant and when they walked in, they ordered the fish of the day or something, and the person basically like brought them over to like a fish tank and was like, which one do you want?
Wow.
And like, so my mum kind of wasn't really vegetarian when they met,
Sure.
and my dad was like, what? Didn't really expect it, and then just said whatever, and then like they took the fish out and then killed it.
Huh.
And my parents are so shocked from it, and it's funny because my dad's quite hard, like, like it's I'm not sure what the word is, but he's not very
thick-skinned.
He's got thick skin, so that wouldn't really affect him, but like they were just so kind of like shocked by it because they didn't expect that, and to do that, they actually ended up, I'm not sure what type of fish it was, I think it was like trout, and they ended up just deciding to package it, take it home and bury it.
Oh wow, no way.
Yeah, and they've never eaten trout ever since.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
other fish is fine.
so
Fuck the rest of
it's
the
weird.
fish.
But no, that's the weird thing. And so I think it's more of like a mixture of like he doesn't think that we should be eating meat if we don't need to, or he doesn't feel like he should be eating meat if we don't need to. But he still wants it in his diet, so he chooses fish over other animals. Okay. I think that anyway. But anyway, so like he then became pescatarian only. My mum would sometimes eat chicken, stuff like that. But when I was brought up not as a pescatarian purposely. So whenever I went to my grandparents' place, good old grandma would cook me out with some like chicken.
Nice.
And I don't know, when I was like 7 years old, maybe 6. I think it's 6 years old even. I was really young. I say 6, but it might have been later. I just came home from I think I was like Scouts or Cubs, basically. In England, we have like Cub Scouts. It's just like I don't know what.
I was a Cub Scout as well.
I don't know what they call it in America, but
they do have it over there, but it's not Cub Scouts. I can't remember.
No, and I don't know. I just came in from like that little camp thing. I was like, you know what, Mum, I'm just gonna eat fish. I don't want to eat meat anymore. And I was like super young, and I just stayed with it.
And is that
it's funny because kids don't do that. I don't know.
Oh, you don't
I
know?
don't know.
Okay.
I love animals. Like I really love animals, and like so does my girlfriend Alyssa. She loves animals as well. And I think that animals are like one of the most purest things there can be. You know, like it's like we're the bloody corrupt ones here. You know, we're the ones ruining everything. Animals are just doing their thing. You know,
true.
I get it, we're complicated beings and stuff, but so I love animals, but I wouldn't say it was a huge driving force. Like I understand the circle of life, you know, I understand the kill, you know, and be killed whole situation.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's the weird thing, and I guess it just got ingrained in me to the point where I'm like, look, I could eat meat, but I don't need to eat meat, so I don't eat meat.
Oh, okay, so if you came around here and I didn't know you're pescatarian, I cooked you a steak, would you eat it? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
So because I don't need to, I don't like. I'm not. I mean, maybe that's also because I don't have a huge issue with hurting people's feelings, but
nicely put. It's very true, guys.
But no, I mean, I don't need to do it, and I've not done it for such a long time that I'm like, okay, I'm happy to just cut animals out of my life and let other people eat it. That's fine. Like, I never will tell other people to not eat meat. You know?
Yeah.
I never preach my feelings like about that.
See, I always get confused about the whole. I mean, I know this is not you, but the whole animal cruelty stuff. You know, because. That's saying like just because I like a burger, I don't like animals. That's not true. I love animals, but I fucking love a burger too. You know,
and that's fine, I guess. I don't know. Would you? So so does that mean that in like the future, if someone was to be able to like design a burger that tasted and was the same texture as an animal burger, but was completely synthetic, would you stop eating real meat?
It's interesting you should say that because they probably a month ago or something, I saw an article claiming they had, and Jeremy Clarkson went into a restaurant and was served one of each, and they were like, you will not be able to tell, and he said, I can tell instantly, and he got it right. But
how many, like that's a 50-50 chance.
100%. I mean, I'd give it a go by all means.
But surely if it was the same texture and the same quality, then
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I gave it a go, it's the same texture, same quality.
No, but I'm like saying like it's the same texture and quality.
Oh, then yeah, I'd swap to that. Yeah. The reason I would is for the health benefits of it, So, anyway, we've really gone off on that. That was a good question. All right, this next one's a bit of a lighter one, more of a personal preference one, but it was one of the questions that was asked. Do you own a pair of Yeezys?
Yes, I do. Now, and people are probably interested in this. So basically, back in the day when Yeezys were getting popular, I did manage to get like a pair, not one of the first line, like when they redesigned it. The orange and grey ones, and I'm forgetting what the name is. I know it's got a slightly odd different name. But I actually, a friend of mine was like, hey, I can get you this basically like at the same value as retail. So I was like, and I'm the type of person that's not a huge fan of trends, but I will participate in trends to like fit in, right? Sometimes.
That's I try a sad admission there, but fair enough.
We all do it.
Thanks,
we
all
for
sharing
do
it with us. I know we do. You're 100% right. Everyone wants to.
You do it without even realizing. And I tried to sometimes I try not to, but I'm not going to be that guy who sits there like I will go against every trend. It's like sometimes you have to sometimes you just go along with it. If your friends are talking about it, it's cool to know what they're talking about sometimes.
Very true, very true.
And I got a pair, and I thought they were really comfortable, and I can't deny that comfort because they're like proper the Boost, 350 Boosts, but I just don't like the look of them. The grey and orange ones, and I don't like how they look on my feet. But they did bring out some Calabasas recently, which are the white ones, which look more like a tennis shoe.
I saw those the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, I have them. You saw them probably at my house.
I didn't see them at yours. I saw
the white ones.
I
was wearing them, but okay.
Maybe they're not the ones I was thinking of. Sorry.
They're white. They look like tennis shoes. They're white.
I didn't know they were.
They look like they're easy, and I really like them. And I got them like relatively cheap. I did buy them after resale, but not that much more expensive.
Nice.
And I think they're really nice, well-made shoes. And like maybe if I had the option to, because I know that they kind of copy like the old Reebok ones.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I think that they're really well made, and I've been wearing them almost daily, and they are solid shoes. I do own 2 pairs of Yeezys.
Well, I'm gonna be the controversial one. I've never said it purely because I work. I do some work for Geordie, and Geordie adores, that's quite he adores his Yeezys. But I'm going to be the controversial one to say, I don't like Yeezys. Not the ones you were just talking about, the most recent ones, but the generic style Yeezys with the weird spaceman sole on them. I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I don't like how they fit.
I think they're just some of the ugliest shoes I've ever seen in my life. But everyone seems to be raving over them. Is that just?
But then again, I do respect the fact that some people can rock them. Like some.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. They suit Geordie. Like he looks good in them. I just personally don't like them. Like,
the thing is with Geordie though is he's got a very thin body, and the widening doesn't really affect him.
Right.
Like the wide shoes on me just make me look like stockier. Because I have a decently stocky build, like I'm not thin, I'm not slim bean like Geordie.
Right.
And it makes it look like I've got big feet. So
you have massive feet. I can vouch for that.
That's the other issue.
Yeah.
I have like US size 13. So it's they make me look like I've got flippers.
Yeah, they're not my cup of tea. I've never really been a fan of it. Although, like I say, I was talking about the other white ones. Alfie got Zoe some the other Pointless blog got Zoella some the other day. And they were actually quite nice for a girl. But again, it's that sole puts me off. But hey ho. Moving on, and this is probably the last question I got for you, but it goes back to the whole topic of the podcast, and it's a good one. I don't think I've ever actually asked you this. How did YouTube affect or change your life?
How did it change? It's hard to say actually because I started YouTube really young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, like really young. I was I even forget nowadays, but it started taking over my life, I guess you could say, is when it got, that started happening when I was like 18.
Oh, okay.
So I'm 20 now. So that's maybe 17 actually. So like when I was literally finishing college, in the UK, which is like a bit end of high school / a bit of college, I guess, in the US. I think it's the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I was coming out of like the education and I fell like straight into this. Maybe my origin story is something for a later video.
Yeah.
Later podcast, which is cool. But tune in if you want to hear that. So and it's weird because I never really had much of a middle ground, and I understand that. Like, I'm not blind to that I had a bit of a lucky timing on that. So it's not really a case of like it's not necessarily changed my life. It's just it made my life like that. It made me who I am. It very much shaped me. It's made me into an interesting concoction of a person, which I fully acknowledge.
It's true. I have to ask actually, like, because obviously I don't see much of an age gap between us, like the way we talk to each other. Like, you're quite mature for your age and stuff. So I wonder, has YouTube done that to you, or has just life done that to you?
I was always quite a mature kid, right. And like I said, I will come back. We can talk about it later in other episodes. Of course. But like when I was running a small company when I was 12, and albeit like under the radar, so to speak. Yeah. But I was doing business stuff when I was 12, wow. And so I don't know if that, I don't know where that comes from, because I mean my dad runs his own company. My mum's always been involved in family businesses. Right. Went from my granddad to my dad. So like, and I don't know whether that has influenced it, because my sister is very different to me. Right. She's, no offense to her, but she'll be working for someone. So she not ever shown any interest in doing her own channel? No, not at all. Wow. It doesn't, being like, she likes a good routine. And it's probably too much power and to have her own channel. Right. Like, it's too much going on. So we're different. We're very different. We got along good. We're really well, but like, we are very different. So it can't be a parents thing. So I don't know. But I mean, this is like a bigger question about how people are, whether it's a social thing that forms us, or, more of a biological thing. But I guess to a certain extent, I believe, at least from the way that I've been brought up, that it was to some extent ingrained in me, to be a bit more mature. So so going back to the original, but then again, I say mature, but like, I'm not very good at like feeding myself or cooking. Right. Like, so there's different ups and downs. Like, there's different, just because I can articulate myself well and talk about business and sound like, it doesn't mean that like it's all there. Got you. Like, I rely on Alyssa a lot to like help me live. Like, I'm not like, a fully functioning adult. Mature adult, no, by any means. And then again, who is? But it's definitely, you get more, and I think that's more of an experience thing, maybe. But so kind of going off on a tangent from the original question, because I don't necessarily think we definitely got the answer to how it's affected your life. But what would you be doing right now if YouTube hadn't picked up for you? What would I be doing? I'd probably be somewhere in the like the psychology, sociology world. Interesting. That's what I was doing at school. Okay. Now, somewhere cool would have been criminology. That would have been that. I always had a bit of an interest in like the police and stuff. Thank God I didn't do it though. I wouldn't have been very good at being bossed around. Oh my God, I can imagine that. Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, what were you like when you were younger? Like, I really wanted to be a policeman. Ben is slightly on the older side of me. Yeah. I'm more towards Garrett's, jobless Garrett's age. But I had a massive interest in becoming a policeman. So much so I actually almost applied for it. But they told me that it's basically a social death. Which, to be fair, the job I'm in now is social death. So, but they basically said, like, for example, you're in a band, which I was at the time, like, you can kiss your band goodbye. Like, with the shifts we do, there's no chance. And I just, at the time, the band meant more to me doing that. Looking back, I mean, obviously I feel everything happens for a reason. So I'm very happy where I am now in today. Like, if I had become a policeman, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. But, in hindsight, I look back and go, obviously the band thing didn't fully work out, so it would have been great to have actually done the policeman thing I even considered being a special constable, which is basically a volunteer policeman. So you don't get paid, but you get all the powers of a policeman. This is in the UK, by the way, and that's mainly the way to get into police force nowadays, is you volunteer, which is kind of like ironic, because the issue, I mean, that's a big issue. I spoke with someone and they were like, yeah, it's hard because basically, if you want to get into the police force, you have to volunteer. Thus, you have to be able to financially support yourself.
Of course, yeah.
To be not paid. Thus, you have to come from a family background that is of wealth, which is in England for most part is like a very certain type of person,
right?
You get where I'm saying. So I think
though for special constables you only have to do like 2 shifts a week, so you can still have a job whilst doing it. But
you got to be careful because you can't have a job that is got a career.
Well, yeah, of course.
Which means you're stuck with jobs that don't make a lot of money.
Yeah. But I guess I'll go back to the original question and say it to me as well. How did YouTube affect my life? It's completely changed my life. Like I was working, I had my own business. I was a sole trader, and I was a designer, like a web and graphic designer. Got working with Quibblecop. And that instantly changed my life. I was now earning a steady wage because being self-employed, it varies. You can have a great month, you can have a mediocre month, you can have a terrible month. Whereas with the Quibblecop, I was now having my own design stuff and then guaranteed income from him, which is great. And then eventually, Josh said, I think I'm going to take an editor on that. Do you want to do it? So I said, yeah. And then, I ran out of time. I could not do my designing stuff anymore, and my life is now literally full-time YouTube. Actually, I need to stop saying literally. I'm sounding very leafy right now. But yeah. YouTube, personally for me, even though I'm not like a massive YouTuber with earning YouTube money, it has drastically changed my life. It sounds really, I don't know what the word is, ridiculous, I'll say, but it is. YouTube can be a bit of a magical place. Really. I mean, look what it's done for you. Look what it's done for Geordie, and even me to a lesser scale. It's really changed my life for the better.
Yeah, it is an interesting world, but it's definitely the Wild West right now, at least. Like we know people, we've been in the world where like you can lose everything. Yeah. And we'll be talking about that in future episodes with like current dramas and stuff like that. Yeah. But like whole reputations can be destroyed, and especially people who are like not in the power positions in YouTube can get bent over, literally. Like.
So basically what we're saying is if there's any controversial views you have, you should email them to me and I'll say them on the podcast instead.
Yeah, because obviously it doesn't matter too much if you get
I'm good.
People hate you, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind about that.
I'll just make sure you never see the light of day, just keep you hidden.
Hey, that's how it works. I don't see the light of day. Now, I actually went out at the weekend for a rare day off.
No, you didn't.
I did, and I've got like severe sunburn because my skin is not used to sun. So there you go.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Hey, it's the YouTube
I went
life.
outside once and got sunburned
I'm not
and
joking.
died.
My right ear is flaking right now. It's peeling.
That's disgusting.
Because the sun was to the right, so only like half my body was burnt. It's ridiculous, man. Anyway, right. I think we're going to have to wrap things up now, man. I think we've kind of drained this broad YouTube topic as much as we can.
Yeah, so basically you guys make sure to contact us on our social medias and give us some content for the end part of the podcast.
Yeah.
in the future.
If you have any questions, just hit us up on Twitter. Links are in the description, or obviously leave some comments down here. Make sure you subscribe. Tell all your friends how amazing Ouch Potato is. And any final parting
and
words?
Become a part of the Potato Army. No, what?
We could call them the Spud Guns.
Become a part of our potato bag.
It's a potato sack.
Join our sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Jump in my sack.
God, I can't stand that. Like the whole point of the whole Ouch Potato thing is that it's just dumb and means nothing really.
It's true.
And I I work with someone who does that, calls their like people something. And man, oh man, it's just not the way I like to do things. So, you guys,
they're not
you
the
guys
Spud
call
Guns?
yourselves what you want. Each their own. Just
okay. Well, maybe drop a comment down below and say what you want to be called.
Just know that if you guys decide to take on some sort of collaborative name, I do not support it.
You do not endorse it.
I do not endorse any type of fandom name whatsoever.
I, on the other hand, do. So feel free. Come up with all these great names. It's awesome.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay, cool guys.
So many dreams.
We are gonna go. Thank you guys for joining us.
What's the outro music, Ben?
Well, we're not. I didn't think we were gonna have outro music, Josh.
Oh, did we not talk about?
Well, you mentioned a tune, but I mean,
I honestly, Ben does a lot of the production. Okay, I scrap that. Ben does all of the production on this podcast.
True.
So I for some reason assumed that there was a tune, and I'm sorry that I've had to bring that up and then disappoint you.
That's quite awkward, really. So, I mean, I might put a tune in. If they hear a tune, they hear a tune. If they don't,
is the tune running right now? If
I mean, it could be
running.
It really could be.
It could. Oh,
I mean, I guess we'll find out.
But then
once it's
that's the
live.
hard thing, because I feel like a tune is like a very defining thing, and I think that putting a tune in really sets the tone for the podcast.
True.
Which is, do we want to do that? Like, do we want to constrain ourselves to a certain tone? It's a bigger question, and maybe it will be a topic in
I think we should definitely put that in a future episode. I think for now we'll probably leave it. But yes, maybe that. I think you're right. That deserves proper.
Oh, sorry. I'm doing the tune for. I'm just trying some tunes out while you do the outro.
You do the tunes.
You have to do the outro because it's like under the.
Oh, got you. Okay, here we go. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this week, and make sure you tune in back on the channel next week for episode 2. On behalf of
that's
Josh.
really annoying.
It kind of took over what I was saying, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay. Go. You keep going.
Okay.
From where you were going.
So on behalf of Josh and myself, I'd like to say thank you very much for listening once again, and we will see you next time. Say goodbye, Josh.
Goodbye, Josh.
Bye.